I'll say things have not gone out of hand, but yes, protests of course have been registered after the afternoon prayers this morning.
And there are some reports that are coming in from Pranshu, Kanpur and Hapur specifically as well. Any details that are coming from there? These pictures, of course, that we are showing our viewers are coming in from Firozabad, where there is at least one vehicle that is being burnt. There is a motorcycle on our screens that is being burnt, that has been set ablaze as well. Now, I'm not sure if this was a police vehicle. Pranshu, any confirmation on whether this is, a civilian vehicle, whether this was a police jeep? Do we know anything about what has been set ablaze?
Well, see, since the net is not working, and therefore getting the exact details or reaching out or getting some messages, that has become really difficult. But what we can tell is that yes, one vehicle has been torched. Most likely it's the civilian vehicle, not the police vehicle. In Kanpur also, the protests have been underway. The exact nature of protests, on what scale it is, that is not clear. But all these protests are basically happening in the minority-dominated areas. In Kanpur also is the Baconganj and Chamanganj area from where some unrest has been reported. So we'll have to wait for another half an hour so that whether the protesters, after making their point registered, actually they go back, or it turns out or spirals into the large-scale violence like we have seen in Lucknow yesterday. So far, everything is on the thinner roof, it's on the knife stage. I'll say the situation is there. We'll have to wait for another some time to basically be sure that whether the protesters are called off or the things escalate further on.
Unlike what happened in Lucknow yesterday, unlike what happened at Parivartan Chowk yesterday, I'm assuming, Pranshu, that the police had anticipated some degree of violence today, given that today is a Friday, given that large number of people gather at mosques to pray. This is something that UP's DGP earlier today had said as well, that today is going to be particularly difficult for us, because a large number of people are going to gather to conduct their own prayers, and we could see some degree of protest there. So I believe they were largely prepared for what has happened today.
Yes, that's right. In fact, today there was a major display of force. To talk about Lucknow, there were central forces deployed. Similar arrangements have been made in many districts, especially the sensitive districts. And as we told on earlier our viewers, that in all the districts, the vulnerable areas, they have been specially covered by force. So if you talk about Kanpur, the old area, they have been actually dominated by the police presence. Similarly, in Firozabad, in Saharanpur, in Meerut, in these regions around Deoband. And as soon as the prayers got over, wherever the people have actually tried to come on streets, indulge in protest with force. So today, the window of respite or the window of possibilities that has not been left open, that people are allowed to move to a certain place. Rather, there have been effort to actually curb the protest at the very spot itself once the prayers got over. That's the reason why we are seeing these clashes emerging out, and that's also the reason why, so far, while we speak, the things are under control. Lathi charge has taken place. In some places, some torching has taken place. But overall situation has not spiraled beyond out of control.
Mishra, thank you very much for joining us with the latest from Uttar Pradesh. A second day of violence that we are seeing in the state. If yesterday was Lucknow, today we have Firozabad burning. There have been protests that have gone out of hand in Kanpur and Bahraj as well. The anger against the Citizenship Amendment Act is refusing to abate despite the government's best attempts. There are a series of protests that have been scheduled for today as well across the country. Some of them you saw on your screens, turning violent in Uttar Pradesh. Now, despite prohibitory orders at Jama masji'd in Delhi, thousands gathered after Friday prayers to protest the controversial act. The Bhim Army had given a call for protests. Permission was denied by the Delhi police. Protesters led by Chandrasekhar Azad right now are marching from Jama Masjid towards Jantar Mantar. Chaos ensued when police tried to detain Azad, but he was taken out of the spot by his supporters. In a sense, he escaped. In the wake of the protest, the DMRC, that's the metro services, have been shut down for 4 stations in and around Jama Masjid. Section 144 has been imposed in parts of Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, throughout Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka as well. Today in Delhi, students and left parties will be demonstrating at the India Gate at 5 this evening. I can go straight across to Runjan Sharma, who is joining us live from Jama Masjid, that an hour and a half ago saw a large congregation of Muslims who had come to the Jama Masjid to offer Jummeh ki namaz. That protest, I'm assuming, is over. The crowds have dissipated and everything. There was a huge crowd and they were shouting slogans. But there was an assurance that had come from the leaders of the crowd that had gathered, the protesters who had gathered, that this would largely be peaceful. And what we saw at Jama Masjid was largely peaceful, wasn't it, Runjhun? All right, this is Gorakhpur. Runjhun, just a minute. UP is in flames once again today. These are pictures that are coming to us from Gorakhpur. For the longest time, the constituency of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, it's his stronghold, as it were. A seat that is controlled by the BJP even today. We are seeing these pictures of stone pelting that are coming from Gorakhpur. Did I hear the police fire a shot as well? Possibly they did. Let's just listen into what's happening. Okay, so we've just seen pictures that are coming to us from Firozabad, and now these pictures that you're seeing on your screens are coming to us from Gorakhpur, the stronghold of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Stone pelting from both sides there. Pranshu, any more details coming in?
Well, the reports are trickling in from across districts now. It's the eastern UP town of Gorakhpur, the city of from where UP Chief Minister actually comes in. They're also in old areas of Gorakhpur, and this is precisely the area around the backside of the Gorakhnath temple, where the violence is actually taking place now. The protesters, mostly from the minority community, they actually have refused to go back to their homes after the prayers, and after leaving the mosque, they are out on the street. So today, the timing is almost the same across the district, and it seems that people, the protesters from the are genuinely annoyed. And the incident that has happened yesterday, over the past few days, from Jama to ANU and other issues, they have actually compounded this pent-up anger, and that's the reason why these sort of protests are being seen today. The important thing is that these protests are happening despite the fact that entire cities and the state was aware that heavy police bandobast is out on the streets. Nets were not working. Despite that, people are coming out, clashing with the cops, and really the cops are having tough time in dealing with the righteous mob.
You know, it's one thing to protest, and everyone has a democratic right to protest, but no one has the right to do what these protesters are doing right now in Gorakhpur, in Kanpur, in Bahraich, or in Firozabad. You are seeing them take stones in their hands, pelt them at the police. The police, in turn, has no option, I think, but to pelt stones back. Simply not acceptable. As I said, the moment you pick up a stone, you lose the argument. But similar pictures are coming to us, as I said, from across Uttar Pradesh. What do you call this then? Would you call this a failure of intelligence gathering in Uttar Pradesh? Would you call it a failure of the police? Because, you know, one had assumed that after what we saw at Parivartan Chowk in Lucknow yesterday, today the state would be relatively calm. But that's not the case.
Yeah, I'll say yesterday it might be some sort of intelligence failure in being unable to judge the scale of violence or the scale of protesters that will turn out on the street. Today there was heavy police force deployed in almost all the districts. So if people are coming out and clashing, it clearly seems that they are actually out there to defy and actually clash with the cops. So I think at a certain level, at the political level, and the political parties should actually be concerned about it, that there is a section of population who clearly feels cheated, who feels that their rights are being usurped, and therefore they are absolutely in a situation where they have this mindset that they have almost nothing to lose. That's the reason why they are clashing. Yes, you can't deny that among these people, there would also be many who will actually advocate for silent and peaceful methods of protesting. A few of them, among them, would of course be the unruly element, the miscreants, who provoke these people. But the significant pattern today is that since morning till afternoon, things have been peaceful across Uttar Pradesh. Suddenly, after the Friday prayers get over, you see these protests being reported from across the state. So if you analyze it socially, it means that as soon as the people from a particular community got an opportunity to come out of their houses, get a common assembly point, they come out in numbers and they clash with the cops. So anger is towards the government, towards the administration, and the Friday prayers, the fact that people actually come out to the mosque to offer their prayers, that has become the assembly point. So the pattern is almost same.
I agree what you're saying, but their cause would have been served better if they had not resorted to this sort of violence and stone pelting and arson. You know, this is just them being